What is up, guys? It is Kenniron here, and I have finally gotten around to the game that I have told you I've been wanting to do, Thrillville. So, this game held a big place in my heart between my childhood and teenage years. You know, that time where you're like, you're not really a little kid, but you're not grown either. Well, I mean, me personally, I stayed a little kid until, like, I hit puberty. I was super short back in the day. But, tangents aside, I want to talk about this game because it helped me with my crippling depression years ago. Thrillville. So Thrillville was developed by Frontier Studios and published by Atari and, strangely, LucasArts. And if you don't know, LucasArts was the developer of many Star Wars games from like way back when. But don't worry, Thrillville has nothing to do with Star Wars, although there is a speech option that mentions Anakin Skywalker. Oddly enough, it's used to romance certain NPCs, but more on that later. For now, let's get into that story. So in a nutshell, the game is about the player taking up the helm as a theme park manager, playing games, building rides, and managing finances to keep each park running. There's more story underneath, with Uncle Mortimer creating new inventions and dealing with a rival theme park company called Globojoy. And that's pretty much it for the story. Each park has its own set of problems to address and missions to accomplish. So let's go ahead and try to explain the gameplay aspect. It's actually quite difficult to try and sum up this game's gameplay, so forgive me if I get a little long-winded. The game goes really in depth, from building your own roller coasters and racetracks to talking to any customers you want, and even what TV station your theme park's advertisements appear on. For the most part, you're just completing missions that feel kinda small but numerous. They are never overwhelming, and they give a balanced feeling of progression in the game. Although sometimes they feel a little bit out of your control, with missions like make sure the park is worth this much amount of money, or make sure this many children are in your park. Sometimes it feels like it's all up to the game whether or not you get the gold medal on these missions. And by the way, missions have 4 levels of completeness. The medals can be black, signifying you haven't completed them, or they can also be bronze, silver, and finally gold, depending on how well you've done. A lot of them actually require you to play the arcade games in the park, which brings me to my next topic, the mini-games. So the mini-games are easily the best part about Thrillville. There are tons of them, ranging from first-person shooters, to racing, to whatever the heck these are. A lot of these mini-games have a lot of depth and potential to be a standalone game in themselves. Point is, the minigames offer the most variety and the most enjoyment throughout the game. The second best aspect is the roller coaster and racetrack building. Now, you can be a pansy and buy a pre-built coaster or track, praying to Jeebus it doesn't overlap an existing ride, or you can make a super crazy coaster on your own that you would never go on in real life due to health hazards. It's a very creative and enjoyable experience, even including a track assist button to complete the track full circle for you. But there's also a few downsides. First off, if you don't have enough money to finish off a track, then you have to delete the entire thing and start from scratch whenever you make enough money. Now, that's usually not a big problem unless you've just started on a park, or maybe you're just a total idiot and waste all your money. The other thing is, when you build a little too much, the power supply in the park starts to deplete. Just to give you a rundown on how the power supply works, basically everything uses power. Once you've built enough rides and games and bathrooms, you're virtually left with no power. I understand that this is to keep you from making a super lengthy roller coaster or overpopulating an area with rides, but it just feels like they could have given a little more creative freedom. I think I've run out of segues, but let's sum up the game's other components and get on to the setting. You can train employees, and it's treated in the same fashion as the minigames, and it's surprisingly fun. although not quite as fun as the actual minigames. There are other fine-tuning aspects in the park, like marketing, making loans, ticket prices, changing the color of rides, and even changing the launching speed of a roller coaster. Yes, that's right, you can change the launching speed of a roller coaster. And no, you can't launch people at 100 miles an hour and attempt to break everyone's necks. I've tried, it doesn't work. But anyway, these fine-tuning aspects don't feel like they have a big effect on the overall game. They exist more for players with OCD and people who want to feel more secure about their ability to run a virtual theme park. The last part of the gameplay I'll discuss is the ability to talk to guests. You can ask them about the park, become friends through random facts about the way dolphins sleep, or be a hoe and kiss every girl in the park. A lot of missions require you to talk to and even romance. Romance? Romance? Let me try that one again. A lot of missions require you to talk to and even romance with NPCs, and while it's not the most boring thing ever, it's not something you'd want to do in your free time. The conversation feels extremely unnatural, and there's even a romantic line that goes something like this. Anakin Skywalker is the coolest character in Star Wars, and that's not even the craziest part. The craziest part is that this works. That line gets girls to fall in love with you, and too bad, because it never works for me. Okay, we're getting into some deep territory here, so let's just move on already. Each park has 3 separate areas with different themes that don't seem to have anything to do with each other at all. But that's not to say that's a bad thing. If you're tired of the current scenery because you've been in the same area for half an hour, just move to the next area for a breath of fresh air. The different areas are all pretty neat, with Egyptian themes to the Wild West, Futurama, medieval fantasy, etc., etc. But there are a few downsides. For instance, a lot of the scenery is in the building areas, and when you build rides, games, and roller coasters, you tend to get rid of a lot of the set pieces in the park. Another thing is what lies beyond these 3 areas. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The only thing you see outside of the park's borders is empty sky. No scenery, no earth, nothing. And it irritates me. Because for developers who did an amazing job fixing all the little details, it seems like they would have at least thought to put some background scenery outside of the park. But you're really only going to see it while building and riding tall roller coasters and racetracks. So it's not like it's in your face the entire time. There are only 2 different game modes to really mention here, the main story and party play. There's also a tournament mode, but it's the same as party play while encouraging a little more competition. Party play is where you and up to 3 others can play the arcade games you've built in the parks. There are even some games exclusive to party play, which are just the regular mini-games with an added twist. You can unlock these by completing a certain amount of achievements in the story mode. In short, story mode is nice, and the party mode is a very nice touch. It's a perfect balance of a game that you can play by yourself or with others and still get the same amount of enjoyment out of it. Every review of Thrillville I've seen just compares it to Roller Coaster Tycoon, its PC predecessor. But I think both are 2 very different games. Now, personally, I haven't played Roller Toaster. It's a Roller Coaster Tycoon. No. It's a Roller Coaster Raccoon. I like it. I like it a lot. But anyway, okay, back to what I was saying. I haven't personally played Roller Coaster Tycoon or Roller Coaster Raccoon, but I have seen a little gameplay for it. And I mean, just look at screenshots of it compared to screenshots of Thrillville, and these 2 games look very different. And while they're made by the same developer, I really don't think they should always be compared to each other. And another thing to mention is the music. The music is critical because they actually got the ability to play music licensed music that you would hear in a legitimate theme park in real life. And I think that is just amazing. Not only that, but they had a studio create 4 songs for them for this specific game, and every single one of them sounds like a legitimate song, and it really is not that bad. In fact, I may play a few of them for you if if I'm not too lazy. It's time for the moment of truth right here. Thrillville, you are hereby declared a 7.1 out of 10. This game is very solid, doesn't ask the players to invest themselves into it too much, it doesn't have the most interesting story, the scenery is a bit flawed, some of the gameplay aspects tend to fall flat at times, but it delivers on what matters most: fun. It is an absolute blast to play games, build rides, and just enjoy the power of customization. And the ability to have genuine multiplayer fun just adds icing on the cake. The lore of some of the minigames is even deeper than the story. Just look at Sparkle Island. I understand it's not everyone's cup of tea, but if you've ever enjoyed a simulation game like The Sims or, The Sims, I definitely recommend checking it out. Or if you're a big fan of some pretty decent customization, I'd say try it. Heck, if you're just looking to play a game for your family and friends, go for it. This game has a lot of fun with a lot of variety, and I think most everybody can find something to enjoy about it. But that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, show some support. Alright, if you did enjoy this video, show some support with a like and a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Kenniron out.